Hey, this is Brant with Vintage Statements, and today we've got some old tractor feeders that we're going to turn into some custom furniture. So follow along. Alright, so they're pretty gross. They've been sitting in dirt, rusty, junk all over them. So the plan is that we're going to wash this down, get the crud off it, the dirt, see what's left, see what kind of rust we got. We're just going to scuff sand it, get rid of the surface rust, clean it up a little bit, whatever we can to it, make them look proper. But I want to leave that vintage feel to it. So everything you see here is going to stay that way. I'm not going to put like a new sticker on this or anything like that, or clean them completely up, just removing the surface rust off. Then I've got 5 of these total, so we're going to take 2 of them and make an entertainment center piece out of these 2. So these will become the ends. I'll put some legs on it to give us some height, and where they'll sit on right here. And then I'll put a couple boards between them and a topper piece here. So I think we're at just over 12 inches here, so it'll be a little bit wider. Then we'll go from there. So we'll give it a try. We'll see what we think of it, and then if it sells, I've got some more to work with. So first thing, let's get these things rinsed off. Alright, basically step 1 was to wash them out, but which I did, and this is still what's left over. Pretty dusty, pretty dirty. What we're going to do is just kind of scuff sand this, try to get it as clean as we possibly can, but leaving this nice patina, a little bit of rust, trying to get rid of just the surface rust of it. We're going to make sure the lid closes nice, we're going to make sure this wheel turns nice, and just kind of give it an overall cleanup. Once we get that done, we can start building off the wood. So, let's get to work. Alright, so it's drying. Still nice patina. It's going to have a great look here at the end here. So what we're going to do is just give it a nice seal on it, protect it, and then this part of that project's done, and we can start on work on the woodworking aspect of it. So let's get it started so we can move forward. Okay, so today what we're doing is I bought the wood. We're going to glue the top together with 2 8-foot boards, or 8-inch boards across. Really, they're 7.5. Watch that stuff when you buy a common board, because it's not really what they say. Sometimes when I was early in my career, I made that mistake quite a few times. So 7.5. Our base, or our top, is 12 inches, so we're going to have an inch of overhang on each side. Perfect. So I picked my favorite sides of both. When I was at this Home Depot, I double checked to make sure the boards would go together. There wasn't a warp in between. Sometimes we look at the board, the color and how it designed the grain pattern, but we never look about putting the boards together and how they would glue together. But this particular 2 boards is going to work out just fine. So I'm going to run a bead of glue down the middle, and then I'm going to start clamping it together with my DeWalt's really nice clamps. So we'll go from there, and then we'll set this aside. We'll start working on the legs, and then at the end we'll work on the shelf. So let's get started. Alright, now we're going to cut our legs. So what we've got is our 1x2s here. Nice thin wood. Make sure when you're picking these out that they're not warped and they're dry. Sometimes you can get them a little wet and then they'll warp over time. So these have been dried out really nicely, and they're pretty straight, so that's going to work out really well. 8-foot board. We're going to cut these to about 23.5, and then we'll go from there on this project. So we'll need 4 for each metal piece, so we're going to need 8 legs total. So let's get started. Alright, now we're going to build the bottom of the legs. So we're going to do a 45-degree cut on both sides, 12 inches for the base. And then what we can start doing is putting this all together and then creating something after all this work. So 45 degrees, 12 inches from the base here, the longest part here. I've already got it all set up. We're just going to turn this board, cut this next one, and then we'll be ready to start putting stuff together. Alright, here's 2 examples. So we're going to have to do the 2 other ones here. We put our 6.5 inch between our 12-inch board, and then we lined them all up, drew them tight, put a screw underneath with all the glue. Got them nice and tight here. Gonna let them dry here, and then we'll start sanding these down. Now, our next step is going to be to take these pieces and elongate them here to create our base, and we'll put a piece across here. So that's the next thing we're going to cut, is that piece right here. So our pieces are 10.5 across. These are what, 3/4. So we'll remove that from the distance of 10, and we'll have our brace in between here. So let's get that measured up and find out. Alright, here is our top. We decided to go with 4 feet. I put on the back side 2 braces, which are I think about 11 inches in. So our metal tops for the seeds will sit right here on both sides. And then now what we can do is start building this just temporarily to find out where our shelf is going to sit and how big that shelf is going to be. So let's get started putting it together, semi, for this next part, which is the shelf build. Alright, here it is roughed. Actually, we'll be switching these, so these will be on the outside. But overall, same kind of concept. We're going to go with 26 3/4 as our shelf here. The reason we're turning these out is so we can have more space on that shelf. Now it's 35 inches tall. It's a little bit taller than I wanted, but it's going to be fine. I like it this way. It'll be the height of our sofa back, so that'll work out perfect. So from here, let's cut that board. Then we can start stripping this all down and staining it, sanding it, staining it, and waxing it. So let's get that last board cut. Alright, let's get sanding. We've got the top, the shelf, and the 2 legs that we're going to sand out, get prepped, and then we can start staining. Alright, we're going to use our Veritane Jacobean stain. Have an old sock. We're going to do the bottom side, flip it over to the sides, top, and we'll do that to all these pieces. Let it dry, and then we can start waxing this. Alright, here it is completed in our house. Now, in our house, we're going to be putting new floors down and new floorboards. So kind of ignore that. But, as you can see, created nice little towers. Gives it that vintage industrial look still. And, well, we increased it to 2 shelves here. So, if you like this project and many of our others, subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook and Instagram. And, well, I got a couple more of these and a couple more ideas.